radio show. Pat and Yo will be... Pat, when are we going to be on? Pat and I will be on Saturday nights from 10 to 1, and we're going to be taking you to and from the parties, telling you what's going on. We'll give you something a little interesting to talk to, so you're not totally boring.
You're not going to miss a thing.
So you're not totally boring when you get to the party.
You won't miss a thing.
It'd be funny. We get everybody talking about the same thing. Then
That's
they'll have
right.
to tune in to hear the conclusions.
Good cocktail talk.
Absolutely. So Pat and Yo, the radio show, starting next week, Saturday night, 10 to 1. But we are continuing our announcer and show host auditions here. Now, our announcer for this hour, and how long are you going to be with us? Dave Jarena is our announcer. How long are you going to be with us?
I get to be here for 2 hours.
2 hours. We have the pleasure of your company.
Or as long as they'll keep me, I guess.
And your wonderful voice.
Thank you
and
so
our
much.
announcer for this hour is Dr. Louis Tharp.
That's me.
As
I'm
in
not the
sharp.
announcer.
Oh, I'm sorry, the host for this hour.
I'm
I'm
the
sorry.
host. That's fine.
An
I'm gonna make
announcer
more
is an
mistakes than
honorable
you are.
position, please.
Yeah, well, you're going to
No
say,
insult.
I'm not the announcer, I'm the host.
Right. I don't believe in hosts either.
Dr. Louis Tharp, you are a doctor of...
Psychology.
Oh, I'm leaving this room now. Okay, I'm in trouble.
Why did you say that?
Now, see, that's exactly what a psychologist would say.
Lie back on this little couch and tell me your thoughts.
What are we going to be talking about today?
We're going to be talking about the USA, America. But first I should say I am not a talk show host. I don't believe in it. I believe in being real, and I don't believe I'm hosting anybody. I'm just being me, talking to you on this microphone. Never done this before, so we'll just let it fly. I'm an environmental psychologist, actually, and I want to talk about really not psychotherapy, which I'm not sure I believe in anymore. I was in the business for 14 years, shrinking people's heads, but I am not your typical shrink. In fact, I'm probably unlike any psychologist you're likely to meet. I am a radical pragmatist. That means that I am ready to do whatever it takes to bring about a sane society. Using the National Guard to protect the borders, using the Marines to completely clean out gangs in the inner city, go for it. Immediate execution of all inmates on death row. Start the gas chambers. We need to change America, and I'm here to talk about how we're going to do it. I should say I think I'm definitely not another ditto head. I am absolutely not a knee-jerk conservative. In fact, some of you may see me, if you see me properly, as a liberal. What drives the locomotive on my one-track mind is real change. Let me tell you a little about myself first, so you get to know me. I was raised in a lower middle-class family. Poor is maybe another word. I never ate a steak until I was 16 years of age. But lucky for me, I won a full scholarship to Yale University. Became captain of the debate team, senior class orator, talked a lot. I graduated from Yale in 1960. Wow, I must be old. Magna cum laude, which I couldn't even spell. And philosophy major, which got me a job in the Lucky's Market. First day out, I'm in the Lucky's Market with a BA degree, bag boy. Later, I went to Fuller Seminary to study for the ministry, but after 1 year, they kicked me out. Well, not really, but what they did do is say that I wasn't attending classes enough, and I disrupted some of the teachers because I began to question my own belief systems. I began to really wonder what I believed. And about that time, I went to see a psychologist, someone I'd never thought of that idea before, and I became hooked on the idea of understanding yourself and other people. I've been around the world twice. For the last 27 years, I've taught in a local community college. I've run a successful business. I tell you all of this so you get to know a little of who I am, because some people think, you may think, that I'm playing devil's advocate. Actually, I am not playing at all. I am deadly serious when I question some of the basic assumptions of our society. Most of my solutions, I think, go for the jugular vein. In fact, I wonder, why should we care so much for human rights of those who have proven by their actions to be inhuman? And what's wrong with the notion of considering the criminal guilty until proven innocent? The French courts do that. It's not a bad idea. I'm going to challenge many of the sacred cows of our society and offer some pretty far-out solutions for you to ponder. And if in the middle of this you decide you want to call in, the number is 1-800-4710-710. This is 710-TALK. Dial the number for free. We'll be glad to put you on the air and let you battle it out with me. I know I have radical ideas. Let's just take one of them. a solution for illegal immigration. This one's going to cost us nothing. It's going to solve the problem not only of all illegals coming into the country, it's going to also eliminate any illegal immigrants in the country. They will leave. Simple as pie. We pass a law offering $10,000 in cash and immediate citizenship to the first 500 illegal aliens who qualify. Throw in an airline ticket to anywhere in the United States in case they may want to relocate. Qualifying is fairly easy. Be the first in your company to turn over the evidence needed to convict your own employer of hiring illegal aliens. We'll fine him $20,000 and hand you half. Be sure you're the first, or you may find yourself on a bus back to Tijuana, and your buddy may be going to Hawaii. Now, I call this programmed distrust to produce appropriate unemployment. It stops the border crossings. There's another way to do it, and this is rather radical, too. Let's build a new prison. No one seems to want the prison in their neighborhood, and so I'm getting distracted here with somebody. What I say? Okay. Question. They want a question. They want to give them a question. My question is, what do you think is wrong with America, and what should we do about it? What do you want to say? What is going to actually change? I'm a chainsaw man. I don't believe in trimming trees. I believe in cutting them down. So if you've thought of something you can cut down, a way to get at the real problem in a radical way that will really actually change things. The Congress, when you elect them, re-elect them, turn and twist them back and forth, goes nowhere. The Congress is the same today as it has been the last 30, 40 years, just the names change. Well, let me go back to my prison. No one wants one in their neighborhood, so let's try and put one inside the U.S. border. It can also serve as an architectural novelty, being the only building in America which measures 10 feet wide and 50 miles long. In other words, a prison with 50,000 inmates with a 30-foot cathedral ceiling and a view window looking out to Tijuana. Now, these wild ideas are not trips into fantasy. They're illustrations of the simple solutions that could be available to our society if we were not emotionally tied to the philosophical truths that we hold sacred. Okay, let's talk to somebody. We have John on a car phone, and let's put you on, John. Go for it.
Comments. I've been listening to the audition.
Can't hear you.
And I've got to congratulate the station on finally picking somebody who wants to find solutions, not just talk. Not that talk is bad, but I really appreciate your approach. And number two, I've never called a talk show before, but I was so inspired in hearing your opening remarks, I had to pick up the phone here as I'm driving through traffic. Everything you're saying, I echo that. I resonate everything, and I'd like to make a couple of comments, and maybe other people can respond. One on prisons. I can't for the life of me understand why prisoners get an 8-hour day to do anything they want and 24 hours in a cell. During World War II, people slept in shifts and shared beds for the war effort. Why don't these prisoners triple up? You know, they sleep 8 hours and they're out of there. We could triple the capacity of a prison with just that simple an approach that we did voluntarily 50 years ago.
I agree 100%. In fact, I wonder what was really wrong, too bad, about Devil's Island.
Yeah, exactly. And secondly, I love your concept of one major prison. I think there should be three levels of prison concept. I think if there's any chance of rehabilitating somebody, fine. You get an educational concept for first-time offenders. Second time is incarceration and warehousing. If it's a third-time offender, I think a big pit in the middle of North Dakota where they fight amongst themselves ought to satisfy the third-time offenders and get them off our back financially. And if they can't pay back to the victims and be productive in some manner, I don't think they deserve anything better than just an adequate existence at any time, and that includes just enough food to exist, because, as you said, they are inhuman. They've given up their human rights with their acts. They don't have any human rights at that point in time.
I agree 100%, John.
I've got some thoughts on homeless I'd love to share with you, but I don't want to take up the whole time. I'd love to hear.
Well, I met a homeless man this morning and offered him $25 to come on the show with me next time I'm on, I hope. And he's going to tell us the real story of how this panhandling is done. He's a real honest guy. Leo, met him right a block away from here. Leo says, I'll tell you the honest truth. And I said, are you an alcoholic? Yes, I am. How much are you making a day? $30. Used to do 60 when I had a better location. I said, it's going to be great, John. Or Leo, we're going to find out what the real story is.
Well, I think there's a solution within the people themselves. Some of them are very entrepreneurial. Some of them are very productive. We could use them to resolve the problem themselves. Many of them could create a productive environment for people who want to do something with their lives. The others could be warehoused and supervised by those very people who are on the streets but don't want to be there.
You know, this is creative thinking. It's the kind of thinking that we need. And the solutions to these problems are not, they don't require genius. What they require is free and radical creative thinking. Thank you for calling.
Thank you, Doc.
Let's go to Scott at a car phone. It's costing him money. Let's put him on the air.
Hello,
Scott?
hello.
Hello, Scott.
Hey, this whole idea of presumed guilty until proven innocent, there's a problem in that. I'd rather see a couple of guilty people on the street than a couple of innocent people in jail, and you put that whole concept in jeopardy when you approach it the way you say the French do.
Yeah, I understand that, and I'm aware of that there's always this real problem that there's an innocent soul out there somewhere who's going to be convicted, going to be sent to prison, and frankly, if I'm that person, I'll be glad to be him. And in fact, even if it's a death sentence, you can put on my tombstone, hero. I would rather have a few people innocently convicted and save the millions of people who are either robbed, mugged, hassled in every way on the streets of America today.
Well, you know, that's just going to continue to happen with the, you know, with the possible uprising of tyranny and the non-concern for the, you know, the criminal element. You know, there's just too much lip service being paid.
I agree. We're going to have to go to commercial break, though. Thanks for calling.
Thanks.
You're listening to a live, uncensored, on-air audition for talk show host positions on the new 710 Talk. If you like what you hear, call in and contribute to the show. If you don't like what you're hearing, remember, you're listening to an audition. Our regular weekday lineup starts next Monday morning. Stay tuned for details here on 710 Talk, the new talk station.
Hey, George, what's with the 18-wheeler?
I'm heading over to Pizza Hut. They've got an unbelievable new deal.
Really?
Yeah. Their special prices are so low, I think Pizza Hut's gone loopy.
Wow!
Yeah, now you can get 2 medium pizzas with your choice of any 2 toppings for just $7.99.
No, $7.99? That's incredible!
Yeah, and it's not just any ordinary pizza. It's Pizza Hut pizza.
But, George, Pizza Hut delivers. Why don't you just give them a call?
I know, but it's a limited time offer and only good for carryout. That's why I got this baby. You can't get enough of a good thing, you know?
Now, for a limited time at participating Pizza Hut restaurants, get 2 medium pizzas covered with your choice of any 2 of your favorite toppings for just $7.99. Offer good on carryout only, not valid with Bigfoot, half-price pizza, or any other offer. Truck not included.
Miller Mitsubishi and Van Nuys, now they're part of the Miller Automotive Group as well. Miller Mitsubishi opened in 1982, and can you believe they are the oldest Mitsubishi dealer in the U.S.? Well, Tom Croxton is the general manager, a really nice guy from the Midwest, still getting adjusted to Californians, especially working in the heart of the valley. In fact, Tom went to school and even graduated with former Vice President Dan Quayle. Miller Mitsubishi carries all the Mitsubishi lines, the largest car volume Mitsubishi dealer in California, and the 6th largest in the U.S. All of the Miller dealers carry a large selection of new and used cars. In fact, they even buy used cars from the public. Right now, Miller Mitsubishi has a special 36-month lease program on 3000 GTs, Monteros, and Diamantes. Don't let it slip by. Go see Tom Croxton at Miller Mitsubishi and Van Nuys, next to the other Miller dealerships. They'll treat you right. Miller Mitsubishi, a member of the Miller Automotive Group.
Hi, I'm Peter Tilden.
And I'm Tracy Miller.
We're doing mornings here on 710 Talk.
We're just 2 nice people trying to make it in this world.
I hope we rip the f***ing eyeballs off of the competition.
No, just mess with them.
710 Talk.
You're listening to 710 Talk, the new L.A. talk station. I'm Dave Jarena, and now back to auditioning host, Dr. Louis Tharp.
I'm Dr. Louis Tharp. If you'd like to get on the air, dial this 1-800-4-710-710. We'll put you on and let you talk. We've got some open lines, and we've got a lot of full lines here, too. Let's go to Mike in Newberry Park.
How's everything going?
Okay.
Want to preface this by saying that I've never called a show before, and I had to pull off the freeway because I happen to agree with everything you've said so far in regards to starting up the gas chambers. If they need somebody to sign up to pull the lever or do whatever needs to be done, I'll sign up. To use the military to patrol the borders and to do the same on the streets of the cities of Los Angeles.
Thank you for calling, Mike. Let me tell you something. With those people on death row, every year you leave that person on there at $25,000 a year to feed that person, keep them there. You're killing 25 people on this planet Earth. There are 10,000 people die of starvation daily on this planet. I can never understand why we leave a convicted murderer laying there eating, sleeping, enjoying his life when we could easily let him go. And I don't care what happens to him. And personally here, I believe in God. I believe that God will take care of him. And if he wants to go to heaven, I'll be happy to welcome him there later. But for right now, we've done with him.
I just think we spend too much time worrying about the criminals' rights and not enough about the victims' rights. We need to start looking at the victims' rights and do some things that might be a little bit radical, but I think are going to make people stand up and take notice. And you look at what's happened with the guy that got caned. People say that if you talk to most people, they think it's the right thing to do.
I agree. They finally caned the boy, and in fact, I've thought about going there myself. I was buying a ticket to Singapore. You know, in this country, you can get rich just by doing something bad. So I thought I'll buy a ticket to Singapore, go over there, and I've got a plan in mind: spray paint the judge's car. I'm going to put Beavis on one side and Butthead on the other. And I'm also bringing a steel baton. When he comes out, sees the thing, is freaking out, I hit him right in the knees with that steel baton. There's another thing I can get on the air with. When I come back to America, they'll cane me, I'm sure.
And you're going to make what's sad, you'll make a ton of money, and the people that want to make an honest living, it's very tough for them to do it.
Right, and what messages are we sending to young people? When Michael Fay comes back, they estimate he'll get $750,000 from these talk shows. It should be illegal, absolutely illegal for hard copy of these other groups to do this thing for people who are bad folk.
And I mean, the thing is you sit there and you look, and these guys are, and people are watching, and if people didn't watch it on TV, then these shows wouldn't be making the money they're making. But I don't want to take any more of your time. Let somebody else get on the phone. And again, first time I called in, and hopefully they'll keep you so I can listen to you and talk to you later on.
Thank you very much.
Take care.
Let's go to Bill in Hollywood. This is 710 Talk.
Nicely, proposing some interesting radical ideas. I have a radical idea which cuts across, I think, probably all radical ideas. It's very, very simple. We have all these systems to try and correct the ills of society, but there's one thing we are not doing very well. I myself have traveled to Europe several times and have sat in cafes and talked with people and so on. We don't have what's called the art of conversation in this country, except for what you're doing here and what 710 is doing. They're reviving the art of conversation the way the Greeks used to talk to each other when Socrates and Euripides were around. Now, what I propose is every man should follow your example and the example of the other people who are auditioning here for this show, is to have, they should all have, be talk show hosts. Everyone should talk to each other as though they were a talk show host.
I agree with that 100%. It's always bothered me to watch Johnny Carson and the other guys bring on celebrities. What's wrong with the average guy in the street?
Exactly.
Why do we have to listen to these people, many of whom are rather crummy people, to be honest? And why can't we bring the best people in America, the nicest people, and what's wrong with listening to them?
Exactly, and I think in high school and college they should teach not just communication, but talk show hosting. That is to say, how to talk to your neighbor.
Well, I wish they'd taught it to me, because it's scaring the hell out of me, I can tell you that.
Well, I auditioned and had a lot of fun doing that and preparing the audition, and I've discovered something, that when I left the audition parking lot over there, I began to talk to my neighbors and other people that I met, and I began asking questions of them. And I had learned some skills by this experience of auditioning, though I didn't get it. It was still fascinating to learn how to communicate with people, and I'm grateful for the audition for that.
Well, thank you for calling.
Thank everybody at 710 for that opportunity.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Let's go to Craig in Ocean Beach.
Hi there. I must first of all say I do like this new station here in Ocean Beach. So, are you there?
Oh, good. I'm here, yeah.
All right. What I wanted to do is, my idea was one of the problems is with our Congress is they always pork barrel for their own districts. So we need to start voting for congressmen in other districts instead of our own. Because right now it's the stupid little nationalistic attitude that all the voter has. They're going to vote for the guy that's just going to bring all the projects home and not the guy who's going to vote in the best interest of everybody.
That is a very creative idea. I like that. I've got one for you. Why don't we tax everybody in the United States, every person, man, woman, and child, on the tax form, $5 each annually? In 4 years, we will have $5 billion for our own campaign funding. Then we cut off the lobbyists. We make it a penalty. Anyone gives any money outside of the public's money to any person in public office is fined 25 times the amount he tried to give. Or even worse, I'm not sure what we need to do to those guys. Send the lobbyists home, send the rich people home, and let's have a real democracy. $5 billion can let anybody who's serious about running for office. We've got plenty of money to find out who we want in the offices. And I like your idea, too.
Oh, and
Thank you for...
I also had a question about one of your ideas.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
It was kind of upsetting. It was about the guilty before innocent, like the French courts do.
Well, I'm really not sure I want to do that, but I'm just throwing that out. It's amazing. We always think that we've got the only system, that the whole world is like us. In the French system, they don't think that way. They just go, well, he's probably guilty. And probably it's true that most people that the police are bothering to hassle are guilty. The police aren't out there trying to put themselves out to find innocent people. They do now and then. But it's, I presume emotionally, that he probably is guilty if the police have arrested him. But
I've been in too many situations where the cop didn't have the best, didn't really have what he was supposed to do in mind.
Yeah, well, I'm sure there are those too, but I think they're the minority.
And then one last thing, and the argument's already out there because it's not that new of an idea, but you can talk about it when I hang up. And I think we really do. We need to legalize drugs because that's a stupid priority for the police and legislatures to have when there's so many other real problems.
I agree. But no, what am I saying? I don't agree with that. I haven't got time to argue that. I've got to go on. I don't agree with that. No, in fact, I'm even in favor of prohibition. We'll get to that later.
All right, I'll just toke up and listen to you some more then.
Okay, thanks. Tony in Santa Monica.
Hi, Dr. Lewis.
Yes,
show you have there. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. I was listening to your opening remarks. I've come to the conclusion, as I'm sure many Americans have, that we have such a revolving door system of justice that for these people that are dealing drugs, especially first-time and second-time offenses, I think they just look at going to jail for a few months, which is usually what they get, as a cost of doing business.
Yeah, I agree. It's interesting that when we talk about caning this boy in Singapore, as a psychologist, I'm kind of amused that you can send somebody off for a couple years, and you never hear about that. I mean, everybody goes, oh, we're sending him off for 2 years to prison. But if you actually inflict a real pain right on the buttocks, there's something about that emotionally that gets in the person's head.
Sure.
And I think that we do need to think about that. I don't think it's so bad to ponder whether we need to rethink the constitutional prohibition against cruel and unusual punishments, because there are many cruel and unusual people on this earth.
Well, I think when the Constitution was written, they didn't take into account what the situation was going to be like in 1994 in the major cities.
I agree. I'd love to resurrect the Founding Fathers and send them on a patrol beat one night in Washington, D.C. I'll bet they'll walk up the streets of the Congress the next day screaming bloody murder, like, what have you done to our country?
Well, my solution, if I could be so bold, is to tattoo right across their forehead whatever their offense is. If they're a drug dealer, tattoo it right across their forehead. If they're a rapist, tattoo it.
My goodness, you're worse than me. You're worse than me. I don't want to go that far with people, but we've got to take a commercial break, and thank you for calling. You're creative. We've got to take a break. Thank you.
You're listening to 710 Talk, the new talk station.
You're listening to a live, uncensored, on-air audition for talk show host positions on the new 710 Talk. If you like what you hear, call in and contribute to the show. If you don't like what you're hearing, remember, you're listening to an audition. Our regular weekday lineup starts next Monday morning. Stay tuned for details here on 710 Talk, the new talk station.
Ever been a little disappointed in a book the cover claimed was sizzling? A performance billed as boffo? A movie called a blockbuster? Or a menu item described as savory or fluffy? How about palatial accommodations, luxurious seating, expansive legroom? Or something extra large, extra small, extra soft, extra dry, extra light, extra, extra, extra? Ever been let down by exquisite, handcrafted, rugged, waterproof, scratch-resistant, self-winding, self-rotating, self-cleaning, Or that old holiday favorite, easy to assemble. It's true. A lot of things don't turn out to be as good as you've heard. But here's something that is. A Washington apple. Red delicious, golden delicious, Granny Smith. Doesn't matter. Every one sounds just like this. Kind of a built-in adjective. Washington apples. They're as good as you've heard.
Are you looking for a really good meal at a price that can't be beat? Then try Norm's Restaurant's newest special, a complete New York steak dinner for only $5.49. That's right, only $5.49 for an all-American winner, Norm's complete New York steak dinner. This special price is offered Monday through Thursday only from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. at all Norm's restaurants. Norm's is famous for their steak dinner specials, have been for over 40 years. And now, for a limited time, they're featuring a delicious New York steak dinner for only $5.49. Monday through Thursday from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. So make plans tonight and come to your friendly neighborhood Norm's restaurant, a smoke-free family restaurant. You'll find 16 conveniently located Norm's throughout Southern California. In Santa Ana, Norm's restaurant is on 17th Street at Main and in Huntington Park on Slauson Avenue near Pacific. Norm's is open 24 hours every day.
Coming soon to 710 Talk.
Hi, I'm Peter Tilden.
And I'm Tracy Miller.
You know, you should listen to us mornings on the new 710 Talk, because on the other stations are just loud people, obnoxious people, sick people. Then you can get that all, like, right here. Why? Just search around.
The Peter Tilden Show with Tracy Miller.
We'll give you everything you need to know during the day. I'm lying, but, you know.
Coming Monday to 710 Talk.
We are the hottest morning team in L.A., right, Tracy?
We sizzle, Peter.
Feel my head.
Don't touch that dial.
Welcome back to 710 Talk, LA's new talk station. And we're back with the radical Dr. Louis Tharp. How was that?
Thank you, David. David wants to go to Singapore, too.
You bet.
He says his kids are there cheering.
My kids would stand in line, watch me take the wax, and start counting the money and say, there's a car, there's college, there. You've got it.
Right. Well, it's a novel idea that people should be crying and worried about this poor 18-year-old sissy. This poor little boy is going to cry over there and get his butt tanned. I don't think there's any problem with it at all. I'm Dr. Louis Tharp. I'm auditioning for 710 Talk. Just a reminder, the real lineup begins on Monday morning at 6 on the new talk station, 710 Talk. And you can hear Tom Likas today at 3. Well, let's go back to the calls. We've got so many here, I don't know which way to go. Let's take Frank in San Diego. Frank, you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. My girlfriend's an attorney, and she works in the prison systems, and you should see how many frivolous lawsuits they have going, you know, because they don't get pay-per-view, they don't have, their mail order or whatever. Recently, a guy killed the person here. He was in jail already, and they were being transported. He broke away. He killed the guy, carjacked it. Now he's getting another trial. It's going to cost the taxpayers millions of dollars. I think we need to go back to the eye for the eye, like the Old Testament. And like you say, all these people that are, I spent 2 weeks in Singapore when I was in the Navy.
Beautiful place.
One candy wrapper on the ground. And, the system that they have over there, it's like a fear system. And in Turkey, if you drive drunk, that's death. You get killed.
Well, that may be extreme for driving drunk. The Moscow people put you in jail for a year. But I can tell you from experience in Moscow, the guy doesn't drive drunk. He won't drive with even one drink in him. Alex was with us. He goes, no drinking, please. And that 1 year was enough. That's a good idea. In fact, one of the things of the legal system is, in this country, as a psychologist, I say, this is an anal retentive, obsessive-compulsive injustice system. This is a system that brings about injustice for most people, trying to preserve those few small individuals that may be out there. In fact, I'd love to be one. In fact, if there are policemen listening, we're over here at Talk Radio. You can come right by. Arrest me. I'll be happy to get arrested. I'm not worried about it. I don't think you're going to do anything serious to me. And if I get falsely arrested, well, we'll just settle it over a cup of coffee. I'm not too worried about this thing. You know what I'm really worried about? I'm worried about my right to drive home tonight without pulling up to a stoplight and having somebody put a gun in my face. I'm worried about the right you should have to send your kids to school and have them really learn something. I'd like to have a few rights of those kind, and I'm not too worried about losing my right to a fair trial because I don't plan to have one. Let's go to someone else here. He's been on a long time. Robert in Marino.
Hi, how are you? Yeah, I was curious. I'm a recovering drug addict, and I have sort of like a solution for the reduction of AIDS.
Go ahead.
How about having needle exchange programs? Because it saved my life. Because if it wasn't for that, I probably would have the virus right now.
Say a needle exchange. Oh, a needle exchange.
Yeah, needle exchange program. Because over in Hawaii, they do have them.